everyone, and welcome to the Red Brick House. My name is Susan, and here on this channel I like to make things, I like to do a lot of crafts, and I like to share them with you. And today is a little bit different video. So I am going to be making something, but it is a little bit different from what I usually do. So I hope you enjoy it. I really want to clean up my patio, clean up my front door, and I want to decorate minimally for the 4th of July holiday that's coming up soon. And so I wanted to share that with you. So my plan is just to get everything cleaned off of the patio, just completely cleaned up. Because during those thunderstorms that we had about a month ago, we had a lot of them back to back, and I had to bring my potted plants in because I didn't want them to get hail damage. I didn't want them blown around the yard. And so they just kind of sat up there, and they're still there because after all these storms have ended, we've just been doing so much and been so busy, we haven't really been able to clean that up and move them where they need to be and things like that. Also, I had a wreath, or I do have a wreath on the door that the birds had, these little song sparrows. They're so cute, but they made a nest inside the wreath this spring. And so now all the birds, all the babies have left the nest, and it's completely vacant now. And so I need to take that wreath off of the door, and I'm going to move it to the backyard. And you know, if you've ever witnessed birds and baby birds in their nests, you know, they don't like to get their nest dirty. So they'll turn around and they'll poop on the outside of the nest. So there's that on my door. It's really gross. And so I just want to get all of that cleaned up. The concrete looks dirty. I'm just spraying it all down. I'm just going to give it a whole cleanup. And I'm probably going to add some paint to our door and repaint it because it's been a couple of years since I've painted it. So I want to do that. But then I want to make what I'm really excited about. I'm not excited about cleaning, but I'm excited about making a potted plant floral arrangement. Now, I haven't done that on this channel before, and I love making floral arrangements. I haven't shared that with you yet. So I wanted to do that because I love faux flowers. I like making real potted plants arrangements, which is what I'm going to do today. And I've never made one for the 4th of July. And so what sparked this idea is that we were in Lowe's and shopping, and they had these beautiful like cobalt blue, I don't know, pots. And they were on sale. They were either 40% off or 50% off. So I got a really big pot for a really good price because some of those pots can be quite expensive. And a lot of our plastic pots got destroyed in these storms that we had. And I'm just so tired of plastic pots because, I mean, they're cheap, but you know, they don't last. We live in a hot climate, and if they're in the sun, they just turn brittle and they fall apart in like 2 or 3 years. And so, you know, I really want to invest in some pots that are not going to break at the drop of a hat like that. And so this pot is also frost proof, which is interesting. We don't have terribly cold temperatures here, but you know, if you do, these pots, it had a label on it that said frost proof. So I'm so excited to put some things into that pot and make a red, white, and blue floral arrangement. And so with that said, let's get started on the video. I hope that you enjoy this, and I hope that it gives you some ideas or maybe inspires you to work on your own house or place or, you know, whatever. Every time I watch something on YouTube, I get inspired to do whatever they're doing. If it's gardening, it inspires me to go and work in my garden. If they're cleaning, it inspires me to clean up my space, you know. So I hope that this does that for you too. And so with that said, let's get to it. So here I have my little basket. I kind of spray painted it a little bit, gave it a little bit of a new look. And here I'm using chicken wire as my frog to hold my little picks into place. I love using chicken wire. It's really cheap material to use. It'll last you forever, and it's much more environmentally friendly than that foam stuff that you can buy and use. And I found it works really, really well. And you can reuse it over and over. And so here I'm just putting in these little plasticky type picks. I like to use that kind of stuff outside because it's very durable and it doesn't fade nearly as quickly, especially if it's kept in the shade, which this will be. And so sometimes when you live in a hot climate, these faux flower arrangements, they're nice, they look nice, and yet you don't have to water them, And here where I live, our summers are typically very dry, and sometimes it's hard to keep everything watered, especially when, you live in town, and we usually have water restrictions every summer. And, so having a bunch of annuals is really kind of challenging. So here I'm just using Spanish moss. As you can tell, it's really hard to pull apart, and it's very dusty when you do that. So always try to keep it away from your face as much as possible. But I'm just using that as a top dressing to put and hide the base of that fake grass. And I also think it just looks really nice. It kind of brings the whole thing together, tucks everything in, and like I said, just looks really nice. I have witnessed birds taking that and using it for their nest too, which I think is kind of funny. So now it's all done. I'm just placing it where I want it to be. I think it looks really nice. Right there in the corner. Now I'm putting everything back into place from after the big cleanup. Here's just another faux plant, just a fake fern in a really pretty vase. I have some rocks to hold that down because it's very lightweight. So I have rocks piled in there, and then I just have the chicken wire on top of that. And I just stuffed it in there. So super simple. So there's the final view there. I think it looks really nice, much better than before. So here I'm going to start my potted plant arrangement. Now I have some old garden soil in here. I have some brown leaves, and then I have a few just kitchen scraps in there that I'm going to use at the base of this pot. So hopefully that will break down and feed my plants that are going to go in there. So all I'm doing is just mixing all that up. I'm not putting any kind of hot rotters in there like tea or coffee grounds. You wouldn't want to do that because that'll heat up your roots. But you can put brown things in there and a few kitchen scraps, and that is as good as fertilizer sometimes. So here the same thing. I'm just using some compost mixed with some older soil. I'm going to put that on top of that into the pot. Now I'm going to start with my geranium. This is my biggest plant in here. Now this geranium is in a separate pot underneath all that dirt because I had planted it in a pot and then that pot broke, and so then I plopped it into this other pot. So I really needed to get it out of there and get it in something bigger because it really needed a bigger pot, and I didn't have anything bigger than that. So that's the reason why you see me kind of scooping all this dirt off of here, because I'm trying to get down to where I can pull out the actual pot that the plant is in. Because these plastic pots, they've had it. They're done. They're so brittle. This one's the one that it's in, the outside one here is already cracked. And that happened when we had the hailstorm. You can see there. And so I just kind of made two pots into one here, but my geranium really wasn't happy in there. It really needed a bigger space. So I think this pot's going to be perfect for it. Here I'm just trying to kind of loosen up the soil so that I can get that geranium out of there. I was trying to be so gentle and to try to get much of the root ball as possible. But with that big a pot, it's kind of hard to hold it sideways and try to pull the plant out. But geraniums are pretty tough plants, so I think it'll be okay. So here I'm just judging how much dirt I need to, have the right height for that geranium in there, which I needed a whole lot more dirt. Or soil, I guess that's the proper thing to say. I needed a lot more soil. That was a struggle picking up that thing without it breaking. Here I'm just trying to get enough dirt around that root ball to have it securely in there. And then we'll add the rest of the flowers. Here I'm realizing I should have planted that geranium a little bit further to the back, since this pot will sit against the rock wall right there, the brick behind me or beside me, and it doesn't need to have anything really at the back because you're not really going to see that a whole lot. But here I'm adding some white vinca. They're so cute. I love those little flowers. It was kind of tricky working around that geranium because it's kind of low. Ideally, I would have picked a plant that was more upright, but this is what I had, and it needed a home, and so that's what went in there. Here I'm just adding some red vinca. Well, it looked red to me. It's kind of like a dark pinkish red. But I thought they were really pretty. Now here I'm going to use some Asiatic jasmine. I know that's typically a ground cover, but I'm hoping it will just kind of splay over the side. So I kind of planted that at an angle, hoping that as it grows, it will just kind of hang over the side. I've never used it before in a planter pot, so we'll see how that turns out. I'll give you updates on this little pot as it grows. So that's the finished product, all cleaned up. I think it looks so pretty. I have some little flags that I wanted to stick in there. I couldn't find them at the time, but I added them later on after I finally found them. And I just think it looks really cute. It looks really small to me. I mean, typically you would want something, like I said, more upright and a little taller as your kind of centerpiece, but you know, I think it'll be fine. So that's where it will live, is right there. And there it is. I'll give you a little close-up here so you can see the flowers. I also thought about putting some lights inside there. I thought that might look really nice at night. Maybe have it lit up a little bit. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and watching all of this come together. I hope that you will like and subscribe to my channel. I'm so appreciative of all the subscribers that I'm getting. It's so heartwarming to see that. And so I really thank you for that. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.